Welcome to High Bay Fury, the podcast. This is Roy J. Akers with you. Bob Pockrass of Fox Sports is our guest. Bob Pockrass has covered NASCAR for decades across various formats. He is a hard card member of NASCAR. He is there every week, unless he's dragged off to IndyCar coverage. And I wouldn't call that a bad second side piece gig, that's for sure. But Bob is with us. And Bob, what you been up to since the end of the NASCAR season?
Well, making a lot of phone calls, just checking to see if there's any movement anywhere in the garage, and also I was going to try to take in some NHRA. Unfortunately, they got rained out at Pomona, but talked to a lot of people there as well about kind of the state of drag racing and kind of goodbye to Brittany Force and her retirement or pausing of her career.
Yeah, I saw Brittany at Indianapolis. I was supposed to go to Darlington, but I decided the last minute, since I live in the Detroit area, to take in one race. And so we went in there, and that was a pretty awesome time. Hey, to get right into questioning here, the 2025 season is over. What did you think was the defining moment of the entire season?
That's a great question. I say the defining moment was the decision to take two instead of four by Denny Hamlin
Yeah,
there at the end at Phoenix. I think that kind of, there was, Denny had a great year, and the storyline of whether he can ever win a title continues. But it also showed, kind of resiliency of Kyle Larson. Even though he didn't win in the last 24 races, he's found a way to get the job done to win the title. And it kind of captured all of the conversation around playoffs and what the format should be like, which is another thing that we'll be waiting to hear. I don't know that you'll hear it before the end of the year. It might be in January, but
yeah.
certainly everybody's interested to know.
Yeah, I want to circle back to that comment you made in a couple of questions. I agree with you, which kind of plays into this point. Some people want to have NASCAR to have a pre-playoff, pre-chase, go ahead and have the best in points. But I heard several retired drivers, people like Kenny Wallace, even Kevin Harvick, saying that, people do not talk about the 16th place NASCAR driver in a points situation without a playoff implication. He says, now you're getting drivers that are 12, 14, 16 that are being talked about. And here in this case, you have Denny Hamlin, just like you said, he had that everything all but wrapped up until he took four instead of two. And that went right to the wire, right to the end of the broadcast. And if you're a broadcast partner, you can't ask for anything better. I said a whole lot. Can you unpack anything I just said?
Well, Roy, I think the question is what do you want? There's this current playoff system. A lot of people would be like, how great is it that you're talking about the drivers, you're talking about 16 drivers. But there's also the theory that because you're talking about who's on the bubble for so long and who's going to get eliminated for so long, that you're really not talking about the stars of the sport as much as maybe you should. You're not talking about the Christopher Bells or the Kyle Larsons or the Denny Hamlins or the Chase Briscoes, the ones who have won at least three races during the year, maybe as much. And is that the question? And is that a reason why maybe star power isn't as strong? Now, I don't necessarily feel that is a huge issue, but there certainly is something to be said about that theory and whether they can come up with a way to make the playoffs where you're still maybe talking a little bit more about those stars who are just running up front week in and week out.
I think it's kind of hard to predict what's going to happen in my next question, but I'm going to try anyway. What do you think will be the top storyline or storylines of the 2026 season? Is it going to be this new playoffs or the result of the lawsuit or something else?
I think it could be, but I think it'll be the future Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch hasn't won in a couple of years. He's going to be a free agent after 2026. Where can he go? Who will want him? I think Spire would be a place that would want him and maybe willing to take a little bit more of a chance when it comes to how much they pay him. So, but I still think it kind of remains remains to be seen. And in combination with that, what happens to Richard Childress Racing, right? If Kyle Busch leaves, how many more years, if any, does Austin Dillon have left? And what do they do in reaction or to kind of boost their program and make sure that they're trying to keep up with everyone?
Well, when that kind of rolls in, and we talked Kyle Busch. You made an interesting comment when I was watching Happy Hour with you and Kevin Harvick a couple of months ago, when you said that you don't know if Kyle Busch will win another race, but you kind of doubt he's going to win one with RCR. Did I kind of put words in your mouth?
I mean, I said, I was asking, Kyle, I think the question was, is Kyle Busch going to win again? And I was like, yeah, 2027 with Spire. So
I didn't hear that part, but
maybe I think that's probably how I said it, or maybe it was a different show. So, but yeah, it's I just think they're struggling. They don't really seem all that close to victories all that often. And
no.
Look, I mean the margins between those who are running up front and those who are running 10th to 20th are so small that it wouldn't take a ton, I don't think, to get him back up there. But you've got to be running up front consistently, typically, to win.
Final question before we take a quick 30 and then we'll wrap. Do you think Denny Hamlin will race after his next contract is up, or do you think he's going to fade into the sunset?
I certainly don't think he'll race full time after his deal's up after 2027. Does he, get in a car for 2311 occasionally? I could see that for sure.
Do you think he's going to race till he gets to 70, or do you think the chips are going to fall where they may win wise?
Yeah, I don't know if he would race seeking a specific win number as much as maybe he would just want to kind of see where his program is at. So I don't I think he might be able to get to 70 in the next 2 years, but I don't I think if he races after this current deal is up, it'll just be events that that he wants to race and or wants to see something about the way his organization is performing.
Awesome. With this, Bob Pockrass of Fox Sports. On the other side of this 30, we're going to ask Bob just a couple of more questions as we got the holidays going on all around us. I got Echo Park Speedway behind us. You've got that famous the blur going on. That's the famous Zoom blur. I love that. I've done that one a few times myself. All right, we're going to have it for you next.
Are you ready? Let's go!
In the moments that matter most.
Oh, it's a multi-car accident that took out about 2/3 of the field.
You count on reliability.
Give our safety workers plenty of room to work.
For more than 40 years, AMCUS has been a partner of NASCAR, arming first responders with an arsenal of hydraulic and battery-powered rescue tools designed to help them move faster and stay safer.
A nice assist from the AMR safety team.
Trusted by first responders nationwide when it comes to saving lives. That's why AMCUS is the trusted rescue tool of NASCAR.
He has gotten out of his race car on his own 2 feet.
Proven in the toughest moments. Tested on the biggest stages. Proudly made in the USA and powered by decades of innovation. 40 years of trust. 40 years of saving lives. Built for rescue.
AMR safety team, super quick as they always are.
Built for precision.
Really good job in traffic.
Built for victory.
Absolutely dominates this race.
Let's go, fella! Awesome job!
This is Roy J. Akers for the High Bank Fury podcast. We are followed multiple times weekly where we talk to NASCAR drivers, cover stories, and those that shape the sport. This is not just another podcast. We get exclusive content, talk fantasy NASCAR racing, and spill the news before other media outlets drop their take. We are on all podcast channels, the YouTube channel, and can be found on skyviewsports.net. Check out High Bank Fury, the podcast, today. We talked earlier about the point system and whether or not they're going to go back to an old system, keep the new one, or have it hybrid. I'm on record, and some of the other reporters are too. I really think NASCAR has hit it very well with just a few little tweaks on the current playoff format. Do you see that sentiment, or do you see NASCAR doing more of some kind of hybrid? And I know we're speculating because we haven't seen it, but do you have any thoughts?
I think there'll be a playoff system. I think the question is do you do a 10 race kind of like the old chase, or do you do some sort of elimination? I still think there'll be a little bit of elimination now, whether it's like 2 5 race rounds or 3 3 4. Still, I think remains to be seen, but certainly think there'll be playoffs. Probably some sort of elimination or a point system where you're virtually eliminating people, even if you don't call it elimination, and with a reset.
Yeah, one thing, with NASCAR, they're going to race an extra week next year. They still have the same amount of races, just have 2 week, two off weeks during the course of the season. But, when you're butting up against the NFL season, you need to make sure things are compelling because you're going right through the 1 and 4 o'clock games, depending on when the races start. I do know Bristol is a Saturday night race, and I think that's the only one that's Saturday night. But you're going up against the NFL, and you got to keep storylines, keep things compelling, because if things are over, like IndyCar, it was over in June. I mean, Alex Palau answered your questions. I heard him. He answered my questions. He answered everybody's questions. He had such a huge lead. He'd won 5 or 6 races, and it was all anticlimactic. And if somebody gets off to a huge lead in NASCAR and it's not compelling, and in September and October and beginning of November, I think the ratings are going to take a dive. What says you?
Well, I think it certainly adds to what's compelling. I do think that you can find a way to have, if you had a 36 race season, that you have a certainly bigger chance of it not being compelling over the last 5-10 weeks. I think if you have any sort of playoff system that you can make it at least somewhat compelling, and if you have strong racetracks and a car that's raceable, I think that's the key. Can they get the short track package? Can they get the road course package to a point where fans will want to watch no matter what the points are, and turn on the TV? Because still got 2 of the last 4 races are Phoenix and Martinsville, and you need those to be compelling.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm going to play kind of a little quick 1 or 2 word game with you on 3 or 4 things that might shake out this season, and then we'll call it a wrap. First off, will Connor Zilisch win a race this year? Yes or no?
I assume you're asking Cups, and I'll still say yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. If we could hold together a placard, I think I think he's going to win somewhere, most likely a road course win. But is he, you can't call him sliced bread, but he seems to be the real deal. That's for sure. We talked about Kyle Busch winning in Cup again. You said yes. I think he will. I'm not sure where that's going to happen. But how about Brad Keselowski? Do you think he's going to win once or twice more?
Yes, but I'll caveat that and say I thought he was going to win in 2026 as well, or in 2025 as well.
Well, he almost won in Phoenix. He finished second place there. I mean, that was really quite a battle there at the very end. A couple more young drivers or up and coming ones. How about Carson Hocevar? Is he going to get more wins or fights this year?
He'll have probably more fights, but that doesn't mean he won't win.
Yeah, I think he's got all that talent, that's for sure. And then the biggest surprise driver, who haven't we talked about, who people don't talk about, but he's coming?
Good question. I would say Zane Smith. I think he's, as long as front row still is able to put good cars on the racetrack, I think he's still growing as a driver, and he certainly showed some improvement over the last 2/3 of 2025.
Final comment, did you watch any of Rising? And if so, what did you think?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good look behind the scenes of all the drivers. It gave you a little bit more insight into the pressures that they face and maybe some questions of like what type of support systems can there be to help them deal with those pressures.
Yeah, it was excellent. I had John Dahl on here a couple of weeks ago, and then last week he came on and did a meeting with the press. I always find him to be very, very interesting, and we try to get the very best to come on the show, Bob. That's why you're on here.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody, Bob Pockrass, Fox Sports. You can check Bob Pockrass out on foxsports.com. They actually have a little radio icon right under that. It goes to NASCAR. He does almost all the writing for that. If you want to find out about anything NASCAR, you got to check Bob out. And you said it last show, but where else can we find you on social media? And please go ahead and make him a favor.
Find me on X and Instagram at Bob Pockrass.
All right, everybody. Bob Pockrass, foxsports.com. I'm Roy J. Akers of High Bank Fury, also skyviewsports.net. Bob is at all the races. I'll be at about half of them this year, and so we look forward to seeing you, Bob. Thanks, and you enjoy yourself. And I know you can't relax. I don't think it's in you, so I'm sure you're updating stories as soon as you get off this computer.
Well, thanks, Roy. Appreciate it, and have a happy holiday.
You too. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Here in Phoenix, it's championship day. Let's go! And Lee, we saw that at the beginning of the race, the first three championship contenders were up 1, 2, 3 at the start. But Chase Briscoe's back in 12th. When I talked to James Small, his crew chief this morning, he said